All right, here's our video today. Why we love fear. Why we love horror movies or thrill rides. What gives us this rush, which we'll talk about. And of course, there's some psychological reasons for this, but we're going to just talk about some chemicals that are in our body. As we see this person here with these weird hands walking through the woods, you wouldn't want to meet this person. So one of the things we'll talk about, adrenaline. So adrenaline is a hormone. It's the fight or flight response hormone. I'm sure we've all heard about this. Fight. We're going to fight this weirdo over here. We're going to fight him or we're going to flee. The fight or flight. And who knows, the guy could be just a friendly guy walking his dog. Dog got lost, maybe. Who knows? So, if we go back to our primordial past, way in the past when our ancestors were sitting by the campfire, telling stories or doing something, whatever they were doing, and meanwhile a short-faced bear or a smilodon, those saber-toothed cats, were lurking in the shadows, and we had this fear. And it's been with us ever since. So when we see a thriller, a scary movie, a horror movie, our body thinks it's real. And of course, one of the hormones that comes out is adrenaline. It's released from the adrenal glands. So the adrenaline released from the adrenal glands in the brain. By the way, adrenaline is also called epinephrine. So I'll write that down. Maybe we'll use another color. Try green. Epinephrine. Fits it in there? Yeah, we fit it. Fits in right there. And what happens is this adrenaline, this epinephrine, which is a hormone, hormones are proteins also, it's released into the blood. And this is going to increase our heart rate, it's going to heighten our senses, dilate our pupils, we're sweating, we have goosebumps. All this is linked to adrenaline. And then there's this afterglow. We're going to talk about the afterglow. When you escape the situation, ooh, I have to say that, the situation. Especially if you're with someone, you get this rush of excitement. So let's go away from this creepy guy in the woods and get a blank page here. Talk about the afterglow. All right, the afterglow. After we have escaped, after the movie is over, or the horror scene in the movie, the afterglow gives us, well, it is this sense of euphoria, excitement, extreme excitement. And what's happening is there's this release, again, another hormone, of dopamine. It's release of and dopamine, or dopamine, however you want to pronounce it, is a neurotransmitter. Just write that down, transmitter. Dopamine. And so when the fear subsides, when the movie is over, you're getting this release of dopamine, and it's a reward hormone. They call it the feel-good neurotransmitter. Choose another color. The feel-good neurotransmitter. Feel-good hormone, dopamine. It's the reward hormone. It gives us motivation to do it again. That's what dopamine, however you want to. It's like this, the movie's over and you go, wow, that was thrilling. That was pleasurable. And it's those same hormone not only in fear, but it's also the same feeling when one falls in love. It's the same feeling, the release of this feel-good neurotransmitter. So we have this adrenaline rush, and we have dopamine. And there's other hormones we'll talk about, but when you fall in love, for example, and you're in this puppy love stage, dopamine is released, which can strengthen the bonds, makes you want to be with that person. Sometimes you can't eat, you can't sleep. Well, that's that same hormone, that feel-good hormone, that is released also in fear. So this adrenaline and dopamine, they encourage viewers to seek out more scary movies. It's like a positive feedback loop. Let's write positive feedback loop. Let's use green over here. So it gives us this positive, the brain saying, wow, that was enjoyable. Do it again. Positive feedback loop. And so dopamine has to be produced by an amino acid. And from that amino acid, which makes dopamine, you can get from fish and meats and eggs and dairy and nuts. It's important in your diet that you get these foods if you want an increase of dopamine. And the other hormones we talked that also are this cortisol. And cortisol gives you this, just increases the intensity of the feeling. And there's serotonin, which could also help make more positive experience. And other hormones are released, but for the main part, it's the adrenaline and the dopamine. And this could happen not only just watching horror movies, anything that induces fear, like roller coasters. Roller coasters is a big one. So that's why we love fear. It's all in the chemicals.